Hello, my name is Ginell Cooper, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these really cute loofah sponge washcloths. There is a little bit more of a process to this than just crocheting, so I'm going to show you sort of that whole process in picture form. I started off with these little loofahs that I ordered online. To get them, they just look like this, and I can show you the link in the description. And I got a package, I actually got 2 packages of them. Each package had 4 in it. I had a lot of fun making one of these. It was just one of those things. One night I was just like, I wonder if I can do this. And I had a loofah that I'd had forever, and I took it apart and just crocheted around it and made this really cute loofah sponge that I just really enjoy, and I've been using it ever since. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who would enjoy this. So it starts off like this. They look a little flat like that because they're smashed in that little bag. When you take them out, you soak them in water for a while. They actually start to expand right away, but if you let them sit for a while, they'll get nice and soft. You want them to get nice and soft so that you can smash them out and make them flat like this. Then you take them out of the water and take some scissors. I just used some kitchen scissors and cut the middle part out of the loofah. So it'll leave these little spines in there. Take the center part out and then lay them flat and put something heavy on them to dry so that they're nice and flat. So right now, these were sitting and they dried out on the counter. I originally dried them out on a sponge, or not a sponge, but a towel. And I highly recommend just doing it on the counter because the towel actually kept them wet longer than they needed to be. So I just put some rocks on them to weigh them down. If you have something heavy, to weigh them down and let them dry like that, and then they'll be nice and flat. And then when you start using them, the more you use them, the flatter they get. In fact, like the first time you use it, it'll get nice and wet, and then it'll just hang dry, and it'll be nice and flat. So I've already got this one ready to go. In order to make these little holes, this is going to be one side, and then we're going to do a washcloth on the other side, and then we're going to connect them together. So it's 2 pieces that we're going to put together, and then we're going to do a loop on it. So this first piece, what you want to do is I actually took just a ruler, and I just marked out little 1/2-inch sections and took a Sharpie pen, and I just poked a little Sharpie pen dot on each of those sections. Then I took my super fancy sharp tool, just a pencil, and I poked little holes in there so that you have pre-made holes and you have them about the same size apart. And I'm actually gonna just play, and I've picked out a few colors. I have an idea of what I wanna do. On the green one that I made originally, I actually made, I used the bead stitch in there, which is, you can do that. You can do any stitch you want. I think having it kind of textured is sort of fun for a washcloth. You really could do anything. You could do a graph, you could do Tunisian, really anything you want, because you're just doing a little rectangle and then you're just attaching it to the back. So it'll be super easy. I do recommend definitely use cotton yarn, 100% cotton, because that is absorbent. If you try to use acrylic, you're not going to enjoy the results because it's not going to actually absorb the water and work like a washcloth like it should. These are great for your skin, for exfoliating your skin. They're also really great for washing dishes too. And they're awesome because they hang dry and then they don't get any mold or anything on them. They just work really well. You can throw them in the washing machine when you want to wash them. They're fantastic. So this is the hardest part. It's just getting in here and pulling the yarn through it. Once you do that, then you are, it's gonna be a really easy project and a lot of fun. So once you've got your little holes marked, you go through and you punch, or you've got your little dots marked, and then you go through and you punch your holes. You can take your hook that you're gonna use and just kind of make them wider if you want. They're right there, would be a great spot to do that with. You don't want them to be too close together. That's why I did 1/2 inch apart, because you don't want it to like combine and have 2 holes kind of combine with each other. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with the trim. I am doing mine in sort of a cream and brown and blue. I'm gonna do the brown as my base, like my outside color, and the blues and the creams will be inside. I think I'm gonna do a Puffy Heart Stitch. just like most of my projects, I'm gonna just wing it because for me, that's what's most fun. So I encourage you to just wing it too, but I am going to be showing on this video, I'll show you how to do a heart stitch. I do have a video that shows how to do just that stitch, just the Puffy Heart Stitch. There's also a video showing how to do the bead stitch if you wanna do that one. And I will link those up in the right-hand corner. Also, they'll probably be linked at the end as well too. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually not gonna start right in the corner, I'm gonna start just before a corner, just because for me it's easier to join them and make them look nice when it's not right on a corner. You can do whatever you like better, but I'm just gonna pull this through and I'm gonna slip stitch to lock it in place. And then I'm gonna do 2 single crochets in each one of these holes, except on the corner, there's gonna be 2 here, and then I'm gonna do 2 chains and then 2 single crochets, just so that it makes a nice corner there. So go ahead and do your 2 single crochets. I actually might start that off with 1 and see how it looks when I come around, because there's actually a chain start right there. And pull that up just like that. This is literally the hardest part. After this, it's gonna be a piece of cake. Okay, so it's right there on the corner. I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of, I might do 3 actually, chains. Okay, so just like that, pretty uniform, just do that all the way around and I'll meet you when we get here. Okay, so here we go, I've gotten all the way around. It's pretty uniform looking. I don't think I'm gonna need to do another single crochet in there to make it look uniform with the other ones, so I'm just gonna stick with the chain 1 and the single crochet, and then we're just gonna join it with a slip stitch. Knot it, and you're good to go. So you've already got one side done. Yay, luckily nature did most of the work on this one. Here's what I've decided to do. I've actually done a couple of rounds of this, so I'm sparing you all of the trial and error that I've done. So, and it's just because of just my image in my head of what I'm trying to make it look like. So I've decided to do this horizontally rather than vertically because I want to fit as many little heart stitches in there as I can. And I decided that I was going to start off with the brown stitch, but I think when we make this little piece of fabric, we're going to do a row of single crochets around the outside in the dark brown to match this, and then we'll put it together. So this little piece of fabric is going to be in 3 colors, the light blue, this sort of aqua, and then the white is going to be the actual heart, puffy heart. So we're going to start off with a row of, it's going to be a foundation row, and I'm going to do a foundation half double crochet. So to do that, you're just going to do a slip stitch or a slip knot and then chain up 1. Actually, chain 2. I prefer to chain 2. For some reason, it's not as messy if you do that. Okay, so we're gonna act like we're doing a half double crochet, and I have a video that teaches how to do this. So if this yarn is too hard to see, or you just need a little bit better, little more demonstration, I have a video. I'm gonna link it in the top right corner. So if you click on the little eye in the top right corner, it should drop down and take you to that video. If you're watching this on TV, it might be linked in the end, or you can just do a search for it. It's foundation rows on my channel. So what we're gonna do is we're going to do a half double crochet. We're gonna just wrap it once, go through that first chain, and just keep in mind that when you go through this first chain, we do this all the time, right? Two loops on one side, 1 loop on the back. That's how we're gonna do our foundations. So you just wrap your yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, that's your chain, yarn over, go through all 3 of those loops, and that's your half double crochet. So you basically are just doing the chaining and the half double crocheting at the same time. If this is too much and you just want to chain, you can just chain, it's totally fine. We just need to do multiples of 6 in order for it to work for the hearts. And since I've already done this before a couple times, for me, I'm gonna do 24 stitches. So you can just do your stitches until it looks about right, and then figure out where you're at as far as numbers go, and then add or subtract as necessary. So I'm gonna do this a couple times so that you can see it. I just find foundation rows to be so much easier and more fun than chains. I don't like crocheting in chains. So just like that, go through all 3. So wrap, go through the chain. You have the 2 loops on the bottom, or the 2 pieces of yarn on the bottom, 1 piece on top. So you're just going through those 3, wrap, pull up a loop, wrap, chain 1, wrap, half double crochet, just like that. And then just do that all the way until it's the length that you want, and make sure that it is a multiple of 6, as I struggle. She's got it. There we go. Chain 1, half double crochet. Chain 1, half double crochet. So you're gonna wrap it. See this loop right here? It looks like a little, almost like a little horseshoe. You're gonna go through that. If you go through this big hole right here, it's not gonna work. Don't do the big hole. You wanna do this little chain right there. Pull up a loop, chain 1, half double crochet. Okay, continue doing that until it's the length that you want. So I'm at 24 stitches, which turned out to be just about perfect. We don't want it to go all the way to the edge because we're going to add that brown around the outside when we get done with this little piece of fabric. So I'm actually going to join in my next piece, and here's my plan. Although so far things have not gone according to plan. My plan is I'm going to go back and do single crochet. So this was half double crochet on top of chaining, right? I'm going to single crochet across, and then I'm going to do the puff heart stitch, and then I'm going to do what essentially adds up to a single crochet across the top, which is actually, it's a little bit more complicated than that, and I'm going to show you how to do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first row of hearts and off camera, and then I'm going to teach you on the second row so that I know what I'm doing and I look like I know what I'm doing. So hang tight, I will come back with the second row. Okay, so I finished the first row of hearts. It kind of looks like just sort of eyeballing it. It looks like I'm probably only going to be able to fit 3 rows on here, so that's what I'm going to aim for. So I'm going to show you what to do for the setup here. So this is a half double crochet row that's kind of basically similar to this one. I'll show you where to put those stitches when we get to that part. But the next row we're going to do is going to be the darker blue. So we're going to pull this darker blue color in here. You're going to chain up 1, and then you're just going to do a row of single crochets all the way across. Okay, so as you're about to change color here, that lumpy guy right there is just like, there, fix him a little bit. Okay, so this is like half of a heart right there. And so that's how we're gonna start off this row. So go ahead and pick your color for your heart and pull that in. And then you're going to go ahead and chain. You can actually trim this because you're going to end up leaving that in. So right here, You're going to chain one. And kind of cinch these guys up there so it's not too crazy. And then you're going to do part of a double crochet. So this is going to be the half of a heart. So you're doing 2 clusters here, 2 clusters of 3 double crochets, but we're going to pull them all together. So it's going to look like this. You're going to go wrap it like you're doing double crochet. You're going to go into this hole, this first one right here. Wrap it and pull up, go through 1 set of loops, but leave 2 on the hook. Do that 2 more times. Okay, and then wrap it and go through all of those, just like that. And that is half of a heart. So because we're on the ends, that's what we're gonna start with. Now what we're gonna do is you're gonna chain 2, close it up, and then you're gonna chain 2, and then you're gonna skip 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there should be the one that's right above this heart. You're going to do the same thing, only this time we're gonna do 2 clusters in that hole. So 1 cluster's here. And then pull and go through all of those. Okay, so we finish this cluster. We're gonna chain 1 to hold it. We're gonna chain 1 more time to put just a little gap between the 2 clusters. And then we're gonna do another set of 3 clusters in the same hole. Okay, and then wrap and go through all of those. That is 1 heart. Then you're going to chain 1, chain 2, and then jump over 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go into the stitch right here and do 2 clusters in the same hole. Chain to hold it, chain for the gap, same hole. Okay, and then yarn over and go through all of that and continue all the way across till you get to the end. So here we are at the end. If you did your math right, you should have 5 or 6 stitches at the end. So you're gonna skip over 5 and you're gonna go into this last one right here and you're gonna do half of a heart. So you're just gonna do 1 cluster this time. Okay, so this next row, we're gonna go back to this color. That's kind of the background color for the heart, which is this darker blue. And you're gonna pull that through to change colors right at the end of that right there. So chain 1, that cinches it together, but it also chains you up 1, right? So then you're gonna turn around and here's what we're gonna do. So this is technically your single crochet row, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna like squish it down so your little hearts are puffy, but we're going to do it as, it's a little odd. So the first one you're gonna do is you're gonna do a single crochet in the same stitch you started from, just to kind of get us started. And then you can kind of pull it tight too. Okay, so now you're going to skip this stitch right here. There's 3 stitches in the middle, right there, 1, 2, 3. You're gonna do a half double crochet down to those 3 stitches, but you're going to do them tight. You don't want them to get like, you don't want to pull them loose. So you're gonna do them, cinch them all the way down. Okay, so what that does is it kind of squishes your little heart down. Then you're going to chain 2, do a single crochet right here in the top, in the center of that heart. Then chain 2, and then once again skip the side ones and you're gonna go right into those 3 center stitches. And you're gonna do a half double crochet all the way down and pull this bar down. So you're gonna do it over the top of that bar. Okay, and then 2 chains, single crochet in the middle of the heart, 2 chains, and then do the same thing, half double crochet in those 3 center stitches. Okay, go to this is hard because you don't realize when you're doing it, the top of this half of a heart right here is actually over this way because it just kind of got pulled that way. So you want to find the top of the heart, and that's where you want to do your single crochet in. And pull that up like that. Ta-da! Okay, actually, we're going to switch colors. Okay, so now we're going to switch back to our light blue. And the light blue is going to be basically a row of half double crochets, but you kind of have to, there's special spots where you're going to put these stitches. So chain up 1. Don't worry if things are a little wonky on the side. We're going to fix all of that when we weave these ends in. We're going to tighten everything up and we'll weave the ends in and it'll be like nice and smooth. So go ahead and find the first stitch right here. This is where you're going to do your first half double crochet. It's the top of that stitch. The next one is going to go in the space between that, where that 2 is. You're just going to do 1 half double crochet in that space. And then 1 in each of those 3 stitches. And then 1 in the space, 1 in the top of the heart. Seriously, this has been a nightmare today. One in the space, and then 1 in each of those 3 stitches. And just continue doing that all the way across. The only one that's kind of funky is that the top of this 3rd stitch actually feels like one of those chains. So you're going to do that top of that stitch right there. Oops. And then also do it in the space. Sorry. I really do know what I'm doing. You can't tell. I've been pulled away to do so many things in between filming this. My daughter got a new job and my son's got stuff going on, and and so I keep coming back to it. So it's kind of, it feels a little bit like ADD crochet right now. That's why I'm a little scattered. But anyway, so continue that to the end. I'll meet you right here. Okay, so the last stitch is this blue one right here at the top of that heart, that half heart. Whoops, and that's gotta be a half double crochet too. And then we're actually going to change color and we're going to go back to the blue again. And then we'll do the last row of hearts. See how cute they are? And that should work out to be just about right. We can kind of stretch it a little bit and then that should do. And then we're going to do a row of single crochets around the outside of this in the dark brown, and then we'll put it together. Okay guys, so I finished the last row of hearts. I love this variegated yarn because look, it starts off kind of darker and then it gets lighter. I think it looks so cool. I think I'm going to do another one with orange in there too, because it's my favorite color. So anyway, I finished the last row. I finished with the half double crochet up here on top, but then I did a row of single crochet on top of that to make it match this bottom part down here. So that is how I finished that. So now we're to the part where we're going to weave in all these ends. And I know everybody hates weaving in ends, but I want you to think of it this way. This is your opportunity to tighten up all of these loose ends over here and make it look just perfect. So you can go through and tighten them up and then sew them in, and it's gonna be nice and straight. See, it's already kind of shored up right there, like it's kind of messy on the side, but just me pulling those made it nice and tight over here on the ends so that it looks nice and clean. And that's what we're gonna do over here too. So go ahead and do that, weave all your ends in. That should take you a little bit of time. And then what we're gonna do too, notice that this, it's close, but it's a little bit bigger. So what we're gonna do, I think, is we're gonna do our row of single crochet in the brown to match this along the outside. And then we're also going to do another row on here. And then when we combine them together, that's when we'll add the loop on the corner. So should be lots of fun. Not very hard, not much left to do. So it'll be really fun. Okay, everybody, so here we go. I have finished my edges. They're nice and straight now. It's amazing to me how much of a difference it makes when you weave in your ends, how you can kind of shore everything up and make it perfect. So like I said, many people don't like to weave in their ends, but I actually enjoy it because I like the way it turns out. So your little hearts are going to, you can actually push them out this way to make them a little more puffy, but they kind of just look puffy anyway, and I like the texture of them. So I like the concept. I like the bead stitch on here, but I like the concept of giving somebody like a loofah scrub and some fancy soap as a gift and having it be about self-care and loving yourself. So I like the little heart design on there. I feel like I'm gonna make a whole bunch. I already set the rest of my loofah sponges to soak. So great gifts for people, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I think I'm gonna start right here-ish. I wanna just show you like how I do the sides. So obviously the top parts, it's easy to just do single crochets around there. If you want to plan ahead a little bit, you can count how many stitches you have on here and how many you have on here to make sure they'll line up. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't count and they just happened to turn out to be 24 and 24. It just kind of worked out that way. So, but if for some reason they're off, you can always do a decrease or increase to just kind of make up the difference. We're going to chain up one and then go back into the same stitch, so it's just nice and square, and then go ahead and do just one stitch here. Now when you're going around this guy, because it's kind of nubby, instead of trying to stitch into him because that'll kind of make it messy, I'm just going to do a chain around him. So I'm just going to chain like he's like 2 high and then come over here and then do a single crochet at his base. And I think that'll kind of squish him down a little bit and give it a nice edge right there without trying to chain into or trying to crochet into the actual heart. Okay, so just grab one here. Oops. Chain 2 to go over that little nubby guy, my half heart, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 4 or 5 more stitches and that should do it. Okay, so right here in the corner, go ahead and do 3 stitches in that corner, just to give it a nice, or actually you could just chain 1 and then 1 more stitch in there. So 2 stitches in the corner with a chain 1 in between should give it a nice little pokey edge there. Okay, so now just go ahead and do your single crochets in each one of these. If it looks like it's going to be too loose or too big, because these are different size yarns I'm using, then you can always do a decrease by just doing 1/2 of a single crochet, 1/2 of a single crochet, and then pull them together. And then it still looks like you did 2 single crochets there, but it just keeps it from getting too, you know, sometimes they get kind of ruffly. Okay, so just do that all the way around. Continue, do the other side part just the way you did this side part, and then do the single crochets across the top, and just remember that if it starts to look like it's sort of ruffling on there, you can always do a decrease to kind of bring it together. I might do a decrease right here just to kind of keep it tight and to match the other side. Okay, so 1 chain. You can either just do 3 stitches in the corner, or you can just do one stitch, chain in the middle, and then another stitch in the corner. It gives it kind of a nice little corner edge there. Okay, so continue that and I'll meet you over here. And now I'm just going to join it together with a slip stitch to that original single crochet there, and then chain one. Now, yeah, I'm just going to do that. So chain one and pull tight. We're going to go ahead and do an extra row on here to make it match this one, and then we're not going to knot it. We're just going to go right into joining them together. Isn't it cute? So now imagine, this is how much space we kind of have to grow this out for it to work. So if you can see that, it's about one row all the way around. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna grow it out so it's about the same size as this one, and then, or as this one, and then we'll join them together. Okay, so we are at the end. I went all the way around, and now we started off with one single crochet inside this, so I'm just gonna do 2 more to finish it off. And then we'll just join it with a slip stitch right there. Now all we need to do is just kind of line these guys up. They do look like they're pretty darn close. So we'll just line them up next to each other, make sure that the pretty side that you like is on the outside. And same thing on the loofah. And then all you're gonna do is you're just going to stitch the 2 together. You might wanna chain one just to make sure that it's secure there. Okay, once you've chained one, find about the same stitch over here. So you're like, there's the corner, 1, 2, you're in the third one. 1, 2, third one right there. So just pull up a loop and single crochet. And you're just gonna single crochet all of those together all the way around. So one thing, you may not have perfectly enough stitches. If for some reason it looks like it's not going to be even, or you can pre-count them and see kind of where you're at. I tend to kind of wing it myself. If they look like they're not going to be even, then you can always just decrease by doing, like for instance, this stitch can go back into the same stitch that you just did, and that'll decrease the stitches. Increase bead, basically the same thing. You're just gonna do it in this one and that one too. So it's really easy to increase and decrease when you are putting stitches together. Where did I leave off? Go ahead and meet me at this corner, and this is where we'll do, yeah, make sure your hearts are right side up. This is where we'll do the little cord to hang it from. So I get to the corner here, and this is the first corner I'm getting to, and I'm realizing that there's actually a pretty good size hole right here. You probably don't need to put a loop on it for them to hang in the shower, because they could just hang it right there, right? But I'm gonna leave it up to you what you decide to do with it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do the loop, and if you choose to opt out, that's totally fine too. So I'm just gonna do some chaining, because I got to the end here. This is the other side of the thing. This is right smack in the middle. 3, 4, 5. Let's say it doesn't have to be big, right? Let's just do like 8. Right, that's unintrusive enough. I like it. So then just come back down into the same stitch that you came out of, just so that it looks like it's all connected together. And then just do a little single crochet. You can do single crochet, or you can slip stitch them together right here and then do your single crochet. That's totally up to you. Whatever look you like is great. And then just continue going around. I'll meet you at the end. I've gone all the way around with my single crochets, and now this is the first one and the last one. We're just gonna join them together with a slip stitch like that, and then just chain it and weave in your ends. Okay, time for the big reveal. Ta-da! Okay, I'm so happy with how that turned out. And actually now I'm a little bit obsessed. I kind of want to make more. I want to do some other colors. And I think I might want to do a purple one and give them out as gifts, I think, for Mother's Day and upcoming birthdays and things like that. Very easy. If this is something that you enjoy or if you like the video, just make sure you click on the like button because those things help in the YouTube world. If you're interested in sharing pictures with me, you can join us on my Facebook group at Ginell's Quarantine Crochet. And I would love to see pictures of your finished works. And make sure you stay till the end screen so you can see all the other ones that I did because I think I'm going to just do a couple more and throw them there. Thanks again. See you next time.